I've been raging? Okay, I must have missed that. What was the rages about? All right, shout to Long Beach Show Chat. What was weighing on you throughout the night? Well, that's what I'm here to moonwalk on. Okay. Man, as much as, as much excitement was flowing in me, literally came down to, ready to order the Uber to just walk into a motherfucking dealership and make it happen. I'm going to be passing on the concept of living on the road. Yeah, I'm here to moonwalk that back. Last week I was 99.99% that it was a go. And, the more and more research I do on it, along with, some simple, just even concepts, I've decided against it. Now, here's the thing. Not that I don't want to be on the road, because I do. But the concept of putting all my eggs in one basket, I think that would be a very, very poor decision for me to make. And, unfortunately in life, sometimes you can't let your heart make the decisions that you're supposed to be making up here. Okay. So I'm here to get my moonwalk on that. All right. I would like to do, maybe a smaller concept of it, but, I can't just commit completely to it. So we'll see, man. We'll see. So the HS4 probably will not be on wheels. There will be a concept of it, maybe a HS 4.1 or 4.5. Okay, maybe something to that effect. But yeah, not full time. Salute to all the people that I've been following, though. The content is, very, very exciting to watch. I'm mad at myself that I never, and I'm mad at myself, not necessarily, but I just, I look at myself and say, damn, I think like, it's too bad that cars never became like a thing for me, like where I know how to fix a car or something to that.
Pebs is gonna wind up pissing me off so much that I'm gonna be out here sucking dick for spite. That Gawk Gawk 3000. Like, she's really pushing me. Push, poke.
Fox Sneakers sent $2. I want to announce I'm officially done with sneakers. I sold all of them except for a few pairs. I'm keeping a 10 sneaker rotation, and I'm gonna just enjoy life from here on out. Thanks, Zaya, for teaching me to not be a slave to the release calendar.
Yo, that's amazing to hear. I'm happy for you. Like life is going to be different. I'm trying to tell you, man, you'd be surprised at how much money we dedicate to sneakers, and then the shit be and no offense, right? Like, because if you got it, you got it. Like, as a person that works hard, you spend your money on whatever you want to spend your money on. But like some of us just get so consumed with the sneakers, and you're literally looking at a wall of thousands of dollars, bro, thousands of dollars. And, like sometimes people put so much money into shoes that, they put less into life experiences. There has to be somewhat of a balance, But salute to you, man. Shout out to Fuck Sneakers. I want to announce I'm officially done with sneakers. I sold all of them except for a few pairs. Okay, I'm keeping a 10 sneaker rotation, and I'm going to just enjoy life from here on out. Thanks, Zaya, for teaching me not to be a slave to the release calendar. Absolutely, bro. You're welcome. I wish you nothing but the best. Okay. That advice, along with, finding ways to maybe simplify your life a little bit, doing away with things that you don't really need. You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. You know, you'll be surprised on how much easier life is going to get. But yes, enjoy life. You know, sneakers come and go. You don't necessarily have to give up on sneakers, but you know, the thought of buying every week without fail, you know, 2, 3 pairs, like it just, you know, it just ain't for me no more. Obviously, it ain't for you. Shit happens, you know, we grow up. We grow up. Am I going to grow? See, here's the thing, right? We grow up. It don't mean that we grow out. I love sneakers, my nigga, you know, forever. I'm always going to have some a fresh pair of kicks. You know what I mean? But, you know, I don't necessarily need 300 of them. I don't need 500. I don't need 1,000, you know? Ah, man. Gotta love sneakers though, man. Got to. So yeah, shout out to Long Beach Joe Jets. That was what was weighing on me. Well, not, it's been weighing on me the last couple of nights. You know, I've been up, boy. I've been up watching every video I could. Man, woman, you know, big truck, little truck. And that's why I was saying that I'm kind of mad that I never really got into like cars to where I could repair the car on my own. Because, you know, a lot of people be doing the van life and they be doing it with fucking, you know, old joints. You know what I mean? Like, there was so many videos I watched yesterday where people were like, yo, I spent 1,500 and I built it up, and I spent 1,000, I built it up. And I'm just like, damn, I'm like handicapped by the fact that I don't know nothing about cars. And before you say, Zaya, learn it on YouTube, bruh, like you cannot learn something that you are not interested in. Okay? Maybe for the sake of money, you know, you could force yourself to learn something, but when you are not interested in something, such as myself, bruh, I don't care for it. Okay? And I'm not about to sit and, you know, try to figure out cars. It's just not an interest for me. Cars have always been a resource to get from point A to point B. You know what I'm saying? In some cases, look, I've given up on the car. You know, I like to do Uber. I like to rent cars. I leave them other higgers with the problems when the cars start fucking up. You know what I mean? Just here, I'll give you money. Give me the vehicle. You know, but you know, a lot of the people that I was watching yesterday, you know, it was like video after video after video, and I'm just like, fuck. You know, here come another mofo that, you know, spent, you know, there was some chick, she spent like $2,000 on a fucking school bus. And now that shit is fire. It's fire. Okay, it's fire. You know, that's another thing, you know. And here's the sad part, that had I shown the interest, I would have learned both at the same time, right? So not only would I have learned cars, but because my uncle is a person that's into cars and stuff like that, right? But the same uncle, when I was younger, gave me a job, you know, helping him do construction. He was a contractor. He knows how to do carpentry. He knows how to do plumbing. He knows how to do all that stuff. And at that time that he was really trying to pass on, you know, because, you know, it got passed on to him. He trying to pass on to me. He having a moment. He vibing with me. He trying to pass on life skills to me. And all I was worried about was fucking pussy. Yo, not only was I only worried about pussy, but the pussy that I was worried about ended up being my second baby mom's, ended up being the person that I owed the money to. So look, imagine how, you know, when you analyze your life, everything comes full circle. My uncle, when I was a young boy, was trying to teach me how to get money. He was trying to teach me how to fish. You know how they say, you know, you could fish for a person and give them the food, but, you know, they'll only eat based off when you give it to them. Versus if you teach them how to fish, they will forever be able to eat, you know? And at that moment, you know, my uncle, you know, he was trying to teach me a life skill, plumbing, contracting, you know what I mean? Carpentry, right? That if I would have got to this point in my life and had I listened to my uncle, I would have sent that little floozy packing. I would know how to do plumbing, carpentry. I would have had more money in my pocket. I would have had less worry. I would have had a less of a bill. You know, I could have right now in my life said, you know what? I'm going to go get a junk car and I'm going to build it up and I'm going to build the whole back out and everything. You know, that's another thing I was looking at, you know, some of these vans and stuff like that and getting it fixed in the back. You know, I'm technically at the mercy of someone that knows how to do that, you know? And I've seen how, you know, there's companies that, you know, a vehicle might be like in the 50,000s, but by the time you get it fixed and all that type of shit, them niggas is charging like, you know, 80, 90,000, you know, to get a vehicle to be on wheels and stuff like that. You know, niggas is paying 90,000 realistically, right? 80, 90,000. Nigga, I could get a fucking double wide trailer or a trailer or something like that, you know, like for it to be that, you know, costly. So yeah, man. But the thing is that now I feel like, you know, all I'm doing is pivoting, right? I'm not necessarily saying that little dream of mine can't happen. I'm just saying now I could pivot, right? Maybe I don't need to get an SUV now, right? I could get a whip though. I could get a whip, you know, and, you know, maybe, you know, 3 weeks out the month, I'm at my studio and then 1 week I'm traveling. Here's another thing, right? As far as my hustles, I've always told y'all I've got multiple hustles, you know, and if I just jump into this van life, I'm putting all the pressure on streaming, and streaming is the one hustle that, my nigga, that shit is good at 1 minute and that shit could be nothing at another minute. You know, I could go days making hundreds and I could go days making nothing. So if I, you know, like let's take one of my hustles. I like to flip clothes, right? I also like to produce my own clothes. How would I do that? You know, how would I do that? What am I going to do? Take my heat press and put it in the back of the truck? I know. How am I going to do that? You know? And I've always said this, and, you know, maybe I overspoke, you know, I've always said, oh, you know, my hustles, I'm good. I could go anywhere and do my hustles. I forgot the part where, you know, I always come back to a main location where, you know, the hustles flow, you know? So yeah, you know, like it's almost as if I'm cutting off, you know, 2 to 3 streams of income and then literally that's going to apply pressure to the streaming. And then what happens if I get on the road and like y'all higgers ain't feeling it? You know, higgers ain't feeling it. I don't want to donate to this higger. Right now I'm out there, you know. If streaming was like a solid thing, that would be different, but it just ain't, you know, it just ain't, you know. No, and no offense to y'all. There's way too many people just watching for free than there is people donating. That's why I like to that's why, you know, I've transitioned how I have. That's why I appreciate the donator even more than ever, because bro, there's so many people that just watch for free.
Pevs is gonna wind up pissing me off so much that I'm gonna be out here sucking dick for spite. That Gawk Gawk 3000. Like she's really pushing me. Push, poke.
What's your thought on the send $2 if men can identify women and vice versa, and everyone believes and they reap the benefits? Why can I, 40-year-old man, say I identify as an 80-year-old man that put in 100 years of work, so I should get my Social Security?
Okay, interesting. Hold on. Let me get to that. Shout out to the donator. And again, like I said, you know, I appreciate the donator. It's no offense because YouTube is the platform that I chose. So like nobody put a gun to my head to choose this platform, and YouTube technically is free, right? So you got a bunch of people that just really watch for free. You know, I'm not going to fucking talk shit about you. I'm not going to dog you out or nothing like that. But the reality is that there's way more people watching for free. Now, I would love if YouTube at the very least, gave me the option to charge niggas $1. Just $1. Everybody that wants to come in here and hang out and talk and all that, $1. Un pesito every time. Every single time when you see the notification and you click on that motherfucker, there should be a screen that says, in order to enter, you have to pay $1. I think everybody would say, yeah, I'll throw the higger $1, bang. And then, then it would be profitable. Then it would be like, oh shit, you know what? I'm definitely making moves based off just streaming alone. I'm just going to travel the world and stream and all that. But the thing is that I could sign up and travel the entire world. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to make $1. Doesn't mean that I'm going to make $1. So, I can't, I went to the camping trip. The camping, I loved it. It played with my brain and my heart, and I was ready. I'm ready. Let's do it. I told you. Listen, I was an Uber away. I had all my information, everything. I already said, hey, I want this particular vehicle. I know where the spot's at. I'm gonna go over there, and if I gotta be in there fucking begging all fucking day, because let me tell you something. Maybe Higgins with like amazing credit, right? But like when you go get a new car, ain't you in that motherfucker for hours? I was ready. I was ready to camp out at the dealership, get the motherfucking whip and go straight on the road. Granted, I have to make a couple of moves and stuff like that, but I was ready to go straight on the road. And then I'm like, wait, hold on, Papa. Like, hold on, think this through. Because once you commit, that's it. It's over. Like, you've committed. And I'm glad that I thought it out, right? I'm glad that I didn't allow the camping to get too. Now, the camping thing, I love it. I need to do it more often, right? And not even camping like hardcore camping, just going to like a campsite, an RV park. I'm kind of disappointed that the trip that I just did with the RV park, I didn't spend more time trying to intermingle with the people at the campsites, because everybody was so nice and so like welcoming, and that's a part of me that I kind of got to open up a little bit more. You know what I mean? I'd be so reserved. Don't get me wrong, I'm a talker. Or like once you get me comfortable, I'm comfortable. But that's the part. I gotta be more comfortable with people. You know what I mean? Open up more. I probably could have met people at the RV park. Who knows? But nonetheless, Shata, what's your thoughts on this? If men can identify women, I think you meant if men can identify as women and vice versa, and everyone believes that they reap the benefits, why can't I? A 40-year-old man say, I identify as an 80-year-old man that put in 100 years of work, so I should get my Social Security now. What say you? Well, that's the thing, right? Like, just because you identify as something doesn't mean that it then translates into logic in real life. Okay? So just because you identify as an 80-year-old man, shit, you could identify as a cat. It don't mean that when you walk out the door, the rest of the world will acknowledge that or even give you credit for that. And this is what, I've been saying. We said this in the, when we was talking about the deportation and all that. Here within these walls, I can make whatever rules I want, right? It is when I break the barrier of the door and I go outside that I then have to follow a set rules that are placed for society in general. You know what I mean? So I could be a cat in my house. Meow. When I go outside, I'm a human being. Okay? I can be a 80-year-old man. When I go outside and a motherfucker asks me for an ID, the ID says I'm 44. Okay? So, the thought process that you're just going to push yourself to 80 and then outside is going to acknowledge to give you benefits, that's unrealistic. It doesn't work that way. But you can continue to identify yourself as an 80-year-old man and say that you got the wisdom, inside your is vestibule. I believe vestibule is a proper term. Regardless, inside your home, you can bake a cake and put 80 on the top. You could even tell people, hey, you can come inside my place, but when I light these candles on this cake, nigga, I'm 80. So you're gonna play along, nigga. You gonna sing, nigga. You gonna wish me a happy 80th birthday. But the same people, they're gonna say, oh yeah, we could do that. But as soon as you step past that door outside, nigga, shut your ass up, nigga. You 44, nigga. You feel me? So, that's how I feel about that. You know, but continue to do you, man. Continue to do you. Don't let the world stop you. But you know, unfortunately, when you go out into the world, you got to follow the rules of the world. You know. All right, shout out to Infamous One. I'm about to buy a Sprinter van and build out a room. Fucking rent going up in Palm Beach County, $3,400 for a 2-bedroom apartment. That's crazy. I do wanna kind of work my way down, right? Because now, you know, like I said, I'm pivoting. I'm not giving up on a dream. I'm just pivoting and being more realistic. Okay. In order to make the dream happen now, I would have to be able to house a studio and a car. Okay. Here's the thing. I don't even have to go the SUV route no more, right? Because that was the concept of living out on the road. Now, if I'm just traveling for a week at a time, now I could just get a car. You know, I can just get a little vehicle, you know what I mean? And be, you know, now that's less money that I got to pay, less money that I got to front, less money on a payment, less money on insurance, right? I could get better gas mileage because that's one of the things that I was concerned about, gas mileage. But I have a budget and I want to stay within budget. So I have to be able to do the studio, the car, and the insurance within budget. Okay. So if you thought Higgins was clowning me for the last studio, or at least my detractors were clowning me for the last studio, like the studio is about to be like a real studio. Like I'm about to just get the studio. You know, I don't even need bedrooms, nigga. Just give me a studio. I could decorate it and I could just turn a camera on. Because if you really think about it, you know, my 1-bedroom at Trenton K was damn near a studio, you know, just with a wall, right? Because in the room, I had my desk set up. I had my sneakers. You know, I just need a little corner to put a bed. I'm not really picky like that, you know? So, you know, that's at least what I'll be pivoting to, you know, downgrade one and then hopefully utilize. Because if you think about it, like, and just going with what Infamous One said, 3,400. Right? Let's put it this way. At Trenton K, I was paying 1,800, right? So now 1,800, can I get a studio somewhere that's, you know, closer to maybe like 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, and then take that extra 6 and put it into a car and insurance? I can. It's very well possible, you know? So like, you know, I'll have now the resource of a vehicle, still get my travel on. I got to make sure that with the vehicle, I could dedicate time to traveling, right? And then, you know, maybe like 3 weeks out the month, I'm at the studio where I can still entertain my other hustles, make sure everything good. And then, you know, for that week, I could dip off. You know what also that helps me do? That helps me not to have to unload all my sneakers at one time and take a lower cut. Because that's what was going to happen. I was going to take all the sneakers, put it in a U-Haul, go to a consignment store or one of these spots and take a low cut just to get a bunch of money for what? You know, like I've always said, like what I need another reseller for. I'm the reseller. I'm looking for customers. I'm not a reseller looking for another reseller to take it off my hands. No, I'm looking for the customer that wants to buy my product at whatever the market value is. You know? So now that puts me in a position where now I could get that, you know, instead of having you know, and then here's another thing, right? I was going to have to, you know, at the very worst, right? Put all my shit in the storage, right? And, you know, I asked a few, you know, I ran the idea by a few people and everybody kept saying, yo, but you can just put it in storage and get someone to go get it for you. And, you know, like, and here's another thing, right? No offense, right? I love my peoples, right? But, you know, Higgins is offering up people. Yo, but Tops is your boy. He could just go get it for you. Hey, Just is your boy. He could just go do it for you. Hey, Tony's your boy. He could do. And in my mind, I'm just like, yeah, my nigga, but that's not their responsibility. You know, that's not their responsibility. You know, what if Tops can't do it? Right? And this I've said it in the past where you got to be careful doing favors for people because then their problem becomes your problem. Okay? So now let's say I'm off on I'm living on the road. I got my shit in the storage thing and something sells. And I say, yo, Tops, go get it for me and drop it off. And let's say Tops, you know, maybe forgets. When I get that negative review or I get that money deducted back from me, I'm gonna be like, damn, Tops, man, look what you made happen. And technically Tops is, and I'm just using Tops as an example, right? Top is just doing me a favor. So because he forgot, like it's not his responsibility. He's just doing a favor. Maybe he fucked up on the favor. Now all of a sudden, now I'm blaming him. That's just going to make Tops say, well, I don't want to do this favor if you're just going to be blaming me. And then what do I do from there? Right? So the thought process to leave my shit in a storage and then be relying on someone else to do work for me, you can't do that. You can, but I'm just saying you're setting it up. And here's the thing, right? I love Tops. I love Tony. I love Just. So I'm not going to put these niggas in a position where now we riffing over some dumb shit, which is my responsibility. Okay, so if that makes sense, hopefully it does make sense. I'm here to moonwalk. I'm here to ramble. I'm here to rant. If it don't make sense, fuck it. It don't make sense. It makes sense to me. Okay, but shout out to Infamous One. Good luck, brother. You know what I mean? Like, I was thinking the same thing. And the van life thing is cool, right? Like you could really save money, but like that's another thing I was thinking. Like, are you really saving money? Yeah, in Infamous One's instance, 3,400 for a 2-bedroom. I'm pretty sure he ain't gonna be spending 3,200, 3,400 in van life, right? Let's be for real. But van life ain't free life. You still gotta pay for resources. You gotta pay for gas. You gotta pay for food. You gotta pay to build something in the van. You gotta pay to, even RV parks. I was checking RV parks. Not all RV parks are free. And even the ones that say free, there's a fee. Bars. Right? So it's not free. It's not like you get to save money. You're lowering, the amount of money it takes for you to live, which is always a great thing. I've done that in the last couple of years. And let me tell you something, boy, oh boy. That's like a whole different stress level that's gone. I've minimized, my cost of living. Okay. Salute to the folks out there that, now say I'm doing it my way, by all means, my nigga, you know what I mean? Like, but my way, I've been able to eliminate a lot of the stress that, a normal person would have from all the bills, every single bill. You know what I mean? I got less bills now. So it's just, you just gotta listen. Everybody is different. Everybody has like their own situation. Everybody has what works for them. You just gotta find what works for you. And here's the thing, right? The people that are watching me, here's a valuable lesson. Just because it worked for me, my nigga, it don't mean it don't work for you. What I eat ain't gonna make you shit. Okay? Don't worry about what other people are saying. Find the formula that works for you. Eliminate that unnecessary stress. Live life. Stop letting strangers make you think that you have to live a certain type of way. Because a lot of people are living a certain type of way because they're seeking approval from other people. They're seeking approval from the people that look at them or watch them. I benefit from the fact that I don't care what people think about me. Okay? Peace of mind, less stress. I would take that over the opinion from, listen, even the closest of my family, even the closest of my friends. I will take peace of mind, less stress than I would ever take an opinion, a comment, a thought from anybody in my life. Okay? Do what works for you. Stop doing what works for other people. Pay attention. You may not even think you're doing it subconsciously. You not even, my nigga, you doing a lot of that just to impress. But impress who? Because when it's time to go into the fucking ground, my nigga, none of these niggas is gonna get in the casket with you. So doing shit to impress other people, that's crazy work, at least for me. I'm doing what works for me, and hopefully you're impressed. And if not, then I understand. I can't impress everybody. But if I can impress myself, then I feel like that's what's important. All right, let me move on down the chat. I appreciate y'all listening to me rant, bro. Always feels good to come up here and just chop it up and see where y'all heads is at. And just go from there. Let me see. All right, shout the Dutchie. You mentioned an inspiration or something I gave you, Zaya. Well, no, you didn't give me an inspiration. You inspired someone else to do something that became a mistake for them because they gave up their surroundings. And now, because of that, that alone, that mistake alone, it cost them. It cost them. Salute, shout to Ricky Bobby. Thank you. Yes, sponsors put a new motor on my boat to make a tournament Sunday. Getting a new boat in the winter, they go from 90,000 to 120 down to 60, 80 during winter. Buy opposite season, save money. Salutes, man. Shout out to the sponsor who was able to help you make that happen. Okay. Honestly, where would Pebs and Liam fit? Yeah, the open road thing wouldn't work. Well, the open road thing was based off of just me on the open road. Okay. Pebs has her own thing with her son. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, Pebs has her own thing with her son. Like, I got my own thing going on. It was just going to be me on the road anyway. All right. Shout out to Supreme Bugs. That's a fact. Biggest advice I took from Isaiah was to not live by the release calendar. Best advice I ever took. Salutes to you, brother. The next advice I give you, man, fuck what everybody else think, bro. At the end of the day, you cannot provide happiness, to your children, to your shorty. You cannot provide happiness if you are not happy. Okay. A lot of people are good at faking the funk. Eventually you're going to trip up because you're faking it. Okay. Make sure that you happy, be as how would you say, be as selfish as you possibly can. All right. And then once your happiness is intact, then you can, push your happiness onto other people. But you cannot provide happiness if you are not truly happy yourself deep down inside. That's just my opinion, All right. Let me see real quick. Hold on. Let me check something. I definitely can't afford to be fucking up any donos. So let me just make sure. And just as I thought, there is one sitting there. Let's go.
Pebs is going to wind up pissing me off so much that I'm going to be out here sucking dick for spite. That Gawk Gawk 3000. Like, she's really pushing me. Push, push, poke, poke.
All right. Salutes. Shout out to Major Regression. Salutes. I haven't caught one of the lives in a minute, but what the F is up with your setup? Your audio is muffled and your video shades into black. Bruh, you used to invest in your setup. Why the regression? Sale one Metacom at a loss for a ring light. I don't necessarily need to do that because I have a desktop. I just ain't on the desktop. I'm on my laptop for reasons that, I don't feel like I have to share. If it bothers y'all, I could turn the camera off. Let's just stand. You want to just turn the camera off? You want to just do one of these like that? I could do like this, right? And everything fixes itself, right? My audio from my headphone, it might just be that my headphone is dying. So look, you see how I could just fix the problems? See how quickly problems get fixed? I could just fix the problem. I think my headphone is thing. You can hear me, right? Though you can make out the words that I'm saying, correct? So you can make out the words that I'm saying. The visuals are bothering you, right? Like, here's a better one. I want the visuals on today. So can you just maybe just put the phone in your pocket and then just listen to me? And then the visuals won't bother you. So it's a simple solution, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's really simple, Just put the phone away, don't look at me, and you'll solve all your problems. Shout to Big Money Sonny, salute, Zaya. I'll always stay fresh, but like you said, you don't need 500 of them bitches. You don't, you don't. And shout out to the MacBook Cam. Yeah, the MacBook Cam is trash. All right, but salutes, man, is getting the job done. You know what I mean? I'm hollering at y'all. I got the super special effects that I'm giving y'all with the blacked out and blacked in, like special effects. Imagine you giving special effects to a nigga, the nigga complaining, man. I'm trying to give you extra. Okay, there's nothing wrong with my setup. You know what I mean? Like my setup works. And when I have visuals for you, like I'll provide you visuals. At this moment right now, there ain't nothing other to provide than this right here. Like, I'm just saying, man, I still take pride. I still take pride. You know what I mean? Don't worry, I still take pride. Okay, this ain't the full-time setup right here. This is the part-time setup. Okay, I'm on my part-time shit right now. All right. All right, shout out to Smelly IRL 07 cargo van, 222 miles on her, going on almost 3 years in this joint. Sub with ETCZAYA. I'm good, brother. I'm good, man. Hopefully you good. Here, let me ask you something, Smelly. Do you know about cars, though? Like, if that cargo van broke down, would you be able to fix it? And if the answer is yes, that's where we got a problem, because my answer is no. You know what I mean? I can't fix none of that shit. You know what I mean? I gotta rely on someone else. And in this world, like, I do believe in respecting other people's hustle. Like, if a pipe break in my house, I'm not gonna act like I know how to fix it. I'm gonna call a plumber, right? But because that person has the specialty, plumber, mechanic, now they set the price. And I feel like a higger that know that I ain't got no knowledge. I'm gonna hike that price up a little bit, man. Okay. All right. Ignorance is gonna allow him to hike the price up a little bit, and I respect it. I respect it, bro. I respect it. Listen, I'm not bitching and complaining. I respect it. So because I respect it, bro, I gotta calculate that. I gotta say, hey, listen, I don't want to put myself in a position where, I'm getting taken advantage of or anything to that effect. So, it is what it is, man. But that's how it is. Let me do this. I think folks was asking for the link. I thought the link was listed down below in the description, but it is not. Let me update that. Copy. Let me put that here. Yo, matter of fact, hold on. I didn't even. Did I didn't even put my damn link up. Oh, there it is. I just got to pin it. There we go. I'll drop the link for anybody that wants to pop in if they would like. It is an open panel. Come on through if you'd like, but you don't have to. Okay, no big deal. Let me drop the link. I think we just put it here. Paste. But it is listed down below in the description if it ends up the chat ends up pushing it up and out. All right, salutes. Let me see. Shout out to Kalama. Zay only knows how to pump gas and spray the windshield wipers. Realistically, I know D is for drive, R is for reverse. I could parallel park like a motherfucker. Okay, and I mean in a good way. I like to drive. I'm a safe driver. I haven't always been a safe driver, but I'm a safe driver now. I feel like I'm safer than most, D for drive, R for reverse. I know how to work the little buttons to make the seat, kind of move and shit like that. I think that's it. Windshield wipers. I'm not really good at changing them hose. There's like a process to do it. I know where the windshield wiper fluid goes. That's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Okay. It is what it is, man. Shout out to Long Beach Jets. I understand where you're coming from, Zay. A lot of people are doing the van life stuff and living nomad style. Do what you feel makes sense to you. Yeah, I just, as much as I would love to do it, I just feel like, I have other hustles that would then be neglected by me choosing that type of life. And then I would have to rely on streaming. Now, let's say right now I close out the stream. I will have made $2, $4, $6. And the $5 that I played that was from the other day, I don't know, but let's say $11. Okay, imagine putting all my eggs in one basket, me relying on the streaming, and then making $11. Right? Imagine me going out, finding content, doing it all, Higgins is going to be watching. There's going to be a ton of people watching, and Zaya, this is cool, and that. But that doesn't necessarily translate into dollars, correct? Right? There's a lot of y'all that fuck with me that have probably never donated a fucking dime. I can't be mad at you. I chose this platform. You're on the platform, so it is what it is. I appreciate you watching, right? Do I know if people hit the like button? I don't know nobody that hits the like button. I don't. Like, y'all tell me, and I trust you, but like, I don't really know if you actually hit the like button. So I don't know if you hit the like button. I definitely know that none of this shit is getting shared because like I'm in the same spot that I was years ago, right? So like it's not like Higgins is sharing my shit. Like Higgins will share a Kai Sanat that nigga don't even fucking know y'all niggas, or he don't even talk to y'all niggas before they share a Zaya, right? I ain't mad. I've already come to the realization that's what it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So you know the reality is that I just can't put all my eggs in one basket, right? I can't just stop producing merch. Cool. Ain't nobody buying the merch. Cool. I can't stop flipping clothes. I can't stop doing my eBay thing. I can't stop doing my reselling, my sneaker reselling thing. I can't just do all that to chase content that I don't even know if that content's going to pay. You know, worst case scenario, or I should say best case scenario, I start to develop new people that maybe start watching me because of the van life, but that's not guaranteed to turn into dollars. I might just get more people that just are on YouTube to really just watch free content, like, you know? So, you know, I just can't make a move like that, you know? And I don't want to put the stress on streaming, right? Because then imagine, you know, I make $6. Let's say I do the whole stream, I make $6. I probably spent more in gas and going somewhere and getting a ticket and this, then I spent way more than $6. I only make $6. Then that's just going to put me like in a bad mood. And then the people that donated the $6, my nigga, I might push them people away because now I'm in a bad mood. I'm not making no money. I'm frustrated. Now I'm not even making the $6 because the $6 niggas is going to be like, this nigga don't even appreciate my $6, nothing. Man, fuck that nigga. I'm not donating. You know? So like, imagine, bro. Here's another thing, right? I'm very outspoken, you know? I have beliefs that people don't believe in. And a person that was a donator yesterday could easily not like what I'm saying today and not be a donator anymore. It happens that quickly. Okay. And that person doesn't give you the heads up. They don't give you 2 weeks notice. Like, yo, Zay, I'm just letting you know you said some shit last week. I'm not feeling it. Nigga, I'm giving you 2 weeks notice. I'm not donating anymore. People don't do that. They just stop reaching for their wallet. It don't mean they stop watching though. Hence a Cascade. Did Higgins see what happened with on Sandman panel today with Cascade? Never forget, that nigga used to be a donator. Okay? That nigga used to be a donator. Now, the nigga's not a donator, and he still don't stay away from here. If anything, he's more active now than he was as a donator. Now the nigga's calling my phone. While he's telling y'all niggas not to donate, while he's telling y'all not to fuck with Zaya, that nigga calling my phone. He want to be part of the content. That nigga harassing Paps for naked pictures and ain't never gonna drop $1. So you see how he went from a donator to a disgruntled person that's watching to now promoting to y'all not to donate, but that nigga's still over here. You know, that nigga's still over here. So just again, I got to pay attention to behavior and repeat behavior because Cascade ain't the only person. He's the person that falls on today, but he ain't the only person. Here's another one, right? Some people just ain't got it. They might have had it last year. They don't got it this year. Say last year, the money was flowing. This year, I'm hurting. I can't donate to you. I can't be mad at that person either. Okay? I can't be mad at that person either. So, you know, again, I can't make a major move in life based off of money that is not, you know, it's not guaranteed money. You know, I'd be out there, you know, don't get me wrong, I'd still be out there enjoying life and stuff like that, but like it's not going to translate into dollars. Okay. So, you know, that's where I'm at. So I'm moonwalking today. Zaya last week was talking about, yo, van life. I'm gone. And pump the brakes, Zaya. All right. You know, don't be living up in your brain. You know, and that's why, let me tell you something, that's all it took. Because listen, the same way I do it to people is the same way I do it to myself. I started breaking down everything that's going to go wrong. That's what I did. I switched into that mode, right? I was convinced, yo, you know, Zay is talking to Victor. Zay is like, yo, let's get it. Let's get in the Uber. Let's go directly to the dealership. Let's get the whip. Let's start it immediately. Come on, we could do this. And Victor said, pump the brakes, my nigga. Okay, pump the brakes. Where the money gonna come from? I'm saying, yo, let's go out. Let's produce the content. People are gonna love it. They're gonna donate. Okay. Victor said, show me the proof that it's guaranteed. And then Zaya said, oh, fuck. Okay? And Victor said, nigga, chill the fuck out. Let me break some shit down to you. Look what's gonna happen. This is gonna happen. What you gonna do? Oh, no answer, right? This is gonna happen. What you gonna do? Oh, no answer, right? This is gonna happen. What you gonna do? Oh, no answer, right? Man, sit your monkey ass the fuck down, boy. Stop living in stop living in the fantasy world that you're gonna be van life and it's gonna be all copacetic and all kosher. Because even the videos you're watching, the video could be 15 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, it could be half an hour, it could be an hour. There's still 24 hours in the day. That video is not showing you the full 24 hours. It ain't not one person up on here that has been live streaming van life completely straight through and showing you the, you know, like they might tell you, right? But they tell you with a smile, right? When they telling you with a smile and a nice background and all that, your visuals is still connected to the background, the smile that's on their face and the van looks nice and all that type of shit. But you're not realizing that when you out and about, nigga, you don't know nothing about no vehicles. Okay, so like what happens if something goes wrong? You know, are you prepared for that? No, you're living in the moment. And sometimes you gotta check yourself. You can't check someone else, nigga, if you don't know how to check yourself. You gotta check yourself and you gotta say, well, hold on, Papa. You know, you ain't even got the answers to all of it. You ready to take the damn Uber to go sit at the dealership to try to get a vehicle, but you don't got the answers to some of these questions. What are we gonna do? Because it's we, me, and myself. Zaya and Victor, it's we. What are we gonna do? Them people, they're gonna tune in. But that don't mean that they're going to donate to you just because they're tuning in. So how are we putting all our eggs in the basket and then the basket is streaming? No, nigga. No, nigga. You know what Victor said? I'm going to help you. Since you living in La La Land, Zaya, Victor's going to help you. You're going to take the budget that you got, that you always gave yourself, and you're going to make all that shit happen within the budget. Zaya said, but my nigga, how the fuck we gonna make that shit happen in the budget? Victor said, figure it out, my nigga. Right? That's what you good at. Figure it out. Okay? If you gotta downgrade the space, nigga, if I gotta get a studio, I'm gonna get me a studio. A real studio. A no bedroom studio. Okay? Am I concerned with what people are saying on the internet? No, because the same people that would be dogging me, cracking jokes about me getting a fucking, a studio, if I had a 3-bedroom, a 4-bedroom, a 5-bedroom house, they would just then pivot and find a way to crack jokes on me with that. Okay? The people that are cracking jokes, they never going to stop cracking jokes. They never going to say, you know what, Zaya? You got me right there. Now I got to shut the fuck up because you really doing your thing. No, they're going to find another way. Hell, you know, a 3-bedroom whole upper level is jokes as an addict. So niggas ain't gonna give you no fucking props, nigga, if you get some fly shit. So stop worrying about what them people think. Okay? Don't ever worry about what them niggas thinking. They always gonna troll. They always gonna find a way to troll because that's what everybody doing. You know, niggas ain't giving niggas props. How often do you hear niggas give each other props? Yo, Zay, you know what? Them niggas is clowning, nigga, but you doing it, my nigga. And I see it. I know niggas don't do that, bro. Niggas just get in with the joking. So like the joking's gonna happen regardless. So, my nigga, downgrade the space. You got the budget. Pay less on the rent. And now you got extra money, the same budget to get the vehicle, the insurance, all of it together. Now this is your content. Okay, 3 weeks in the studio, 1 week on the road. Even the 1 week on the road, if something sells, my nigga, I'm already coming back home by the time it needs to go get shipped, and I could go ahead, ship it, and I could keep producing income. You know? So that's all that happened. So on a Moonwalking Monday, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to moonwalk. Okay, and tell y'all that it ain't going to be 100% van life living on the road. No, I caught myself. I was living in the moment at that time. There you go. Shout the blacks. How you still going to do shirts if you're doing the van life? Exactly. You know, and then yesterday I'm telling myself, well, just take the press and put it in the back. And I'm like, my nigga, that's room that you don't got. You don't got room for a press. You now you're carrying a whole press around the United States with you. You know how much that fucking press weighs? Come on, bro. Okay, I had to check myself, man. Yeah. Shout the shot. Zaya, streaming is an unfaithful girlfriend. Okay. Here's another thing, right? I'm gonna add to Shy's thing. Streaming is an unfaithful girlfriend that got good pussy. You know the bitch ain't shit. You know she cheating on you, but the pussy's so fire, nigga, that you just keep dealing with it. Right? I could get up here and make no money. Niggas like, Zaya, you up there making no money? Right? Other niggas complain about it. Right? Other niggas is living like bums making no money. Me, at least, you know, I'm still living comfortably whether I make money or not, right? The thing is that I like to talk, right? So even if I don't make no money, when the stream is over, I feel good because I kind of let out stuff. I was able to kind of, you know, take all the thoughts that are in my brain that are all jumbled up, and I could release it, you know. So it has like a double purpose, you know. If I make money, cool. Yes, I would love to make money, hand over fist. You know, I love it. I also like talking too, so at least something is getting satisfied for me, you know. But streaming is like an unfaithful girlfriend, you know. And here's something that Higgins have said, and I totally acknowledge it. They use it to diss me, but I acknowledge it, right? Oh, Zaya, you live in life based off the charity of people. And I'm like, well, not necessarily like the streaming part of it, yeah, but like that's the thing. I have other hustles that, you know, are make me money. And in all put all together, you know, it's like a little bit added into a pot from each one of these hustles. And then the pot at the end is a decent pot to where I could be comfortable. So now if I do van life, I'm cutting off all those other things that make this pot. And now I'm strictly going with the unfaithful girlfriend, right? So you know what I'm doing? I know my girlfriend ain't shit. She got fired pussy though. I know she ain't shit. She cheating on me, right? What I'm gonna do? Wife her up now? That's what that's doing. Living van life 100% of the time, that's wifing up the bitch that I know ain't shit. The pussy's still fire, but I know this bitch ain't shit. Okay, now I'm gonna wife her up, and you know what she's gonna do? She's gonna drain me, right? Now, what started off as a, you know, I'm searching for adventure, you know, I want to tour the United States and be happy. Now it's not going to be that. It's going to be a burden. You know, it's going to be a burden because I'm relying on. Now, here's the thing. Well, Zaya, but how do other van life higgers do it? Well, number one, a lot of van life higgers, they get a job. All right. They might have like a job or something like that. That's number one, because a bunch of them higgers do have like little jobs here and there. Right. They also might have like a skill. Right. That might be able to make them money and stuff like that. Right. Here's another thing. They deal with lower costs because of the skill. My skill is talking. My skill ain't repairing a truck. Okay. So the higger that could repair the truck, that nigga could go buy a fucking Volkswagen, fucking some shit from 1990 or some shit like that. And now that nigga got, you know, and especially if you were a mechanic and like a carpenter, you know, where you could do both. Now you could fix the mechanics and you could build out the truck and you could live on little to nothing. Because I don't know that, my startup cost is higher. Because now I have to, you know, in order to even just be mine, just say me feeling confident, I got to get something brand new out the dealership because I don't know nothing about cars. So now all of a sudden, now I'm blowing half the fucking budget on a vehicle, right? Because I got to get something new. So the car payment going to be high. Insurance probably going to be high too, right? I'm blowing the budget on, you know, on the vehicle when another higger could not have to blow the whole budget because they know how to, you know, they know how to fix little things here and there. I just have to acknowledge that, you know, I'm not ashamed of it. You know, I'm a little mad that as a youth, I was thinking about pussy instead of thinking about money. You know, I'm glad now in my life, I finally realized, yo, fuck that pussy. pussy's great, but I'd rather comfort, I'd rather sanity, I'd rather all those over pussy. If it means that I got to jerk off for the rest of my life, I'm prepared. I'm prepared. I don't want pussy at the expense of my sanity. Okay, I don't want pussy at the extent of someone just using me and draining me. I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm good. Okay. Let me see. Let me check right here. Let me check some of these comments real quick. Let me check some of these comments. Shout out to Long Beach Joe Jets. Could you do both? Get a small spot in a van and just take a week or 2 week trips on the road. That way you keep a spot to come back to for desktop streams. Yeah, that's that's the pivot right there. That's the pivot. I think that would be more feasible, if that's the proper word,